Hello, and welcome to Health and Fitness Redefined. I am your host, Anthony Amen. Join me today as we take a dive into the world of health and fitness, where we learn how to overcome adversity, depict fact versus fiction, and see health and fitness in a whole new light. Today, guys, we are going to do a very awesome episode, and I'm pretty excited to talk all about this. And I'm sure a lot of listeners chose this episode strictly because of the title. But first, let's welcome to the show Chris Riley. Chris, welcome, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am super excited to have you here. Chris and I met through a brewing company. And before, I don't want to get too much in detail about that, but we all know that's going to be the premise of the show. But first, I want to hear about you. I know you were telling me you run marathons, which I could never run a marathon, but what got you into running marathons? And tell us about that story. There's got to be a backstory to it.
There is, and it does kind of escalate gently, or so I keep telling myself. So about 6 years ago, I decided I wanted to be more active. I had gained a lot of weight towards the end of college. I got my freshman 15 in my senior year, per se, I guess you could say. And so I wanted to get more active. And so I started running because I didn't have a gym membership or anything. I would run around the neighborhood I was living in, which was about probably 3.1 miles, so a 5K. And I couldn't even run a mile fully. My endurance was that non-existent at that point. So I just started doing that, and then I try to run a mile, and then a little bit more. That was my first goal: run a mile. All right, you've done that. Now let's do 2 miles. Now let's do 3 miles. All right, well, you can do 3 miles. Let's sign up for a 5K. Actually, I shouldn't say let's sign up for a 5K. What really happened with that one is one of my friends said, you want to run this 5K with me? And I said, why the hell would I ever want to do that? I can barely run as it is. And he said, there's free beer at the end. So I said, okay, where do I sign up? That's
Which
actually
always gets me. You're paying $25 at least to run a
the
5K
most
to
expensive,
get
one of
a
the most
free
expensive
beer.
beers you will ever get. And you also have to go through physical pain and exertion to get it.
But why does that always make it so much better? It's just like, all right, if I can get to this 5K, I'll drink this beer. But yet I could have just gone to the bar.
Because it tastes so much better. Like when you're tired and everything, that cool, crisp beer, the carbs, just the refuel. There's something about that type of beer that just tastes so much better.
And what are you drinking now?
I actually just got a shipment of Athletic Brewing's All Out Stout. And today I stuck this in the freezer right when I came home from work. So it's still a little warmer than I would like, but I figured I should at least rep the brand. But yeah, it's good. I haven't had this in a while, in a couple years. But it's good. It's malty, it's coffee, a little bit of smokiness to it. I like it. I really like it.
I haven't had that one yet. I got to make sure I do. But go ahead. You're running 5Ks. Your friend forces you to go.
Yes,
What's
bribes me with
next?
free beer. So then that was about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And so I started running 5Ks. That distance got easier for me. And then eventually I did a 10K here and there, but still I wasn't really quite ready for it. And haven't been doing any type of following a training plan or anything like that. I was just kind of getting up and going. And then January of 2018, there's a 20-mile race that happened in September. And in January, a couple of my friends and I decided, hey, let's do it. We have 9 months to train. It's 20 miles. We can do this. One of them got injured and the other one ended up having a wedding to go to that weekend. So I was left going, well, damn. I hadn't been the best at training because I'd never thought about running or going that distance at all. And then comes the ego and my mother. Those two things, when they collide, I guess great things can happen. So I was
It's
thinking,
it's usually the ego. My mother is actually in my other ear saying, "Why are you doing this stuff?"
Well, exactly. And my mother's a physical therapist. She's been one for 40 years, so she knows what she's talking about when she says stuff like, maybe you shouldn't do this because you haven't trained at all and you're 2 weeks out of the race. So my ego then goes, hey, you said I can't, hold my beer and watch this. So I did the 20-mile race. And then at that point, I was thinking to myself, okay, I've done 20 without training. There's no reason why I can't do 26.2 with training. There's no reason. And my dad had run the Boston Marathon 3 times while I was growing up. So I was kind of familiar with the Boston Marathon and everything. So I set my sights on that. To kick off my training for that last year in 2019, I did the Disney World Star Wars half marathon to kind of kick off the training because I was in April. And then in June, I joined the local running club, Charm City Run. I'm from Baltimore, and we're known as Charm City down here. So Charm City Run does running clubs. They do half marathons, full marathon training, ultras, 5Ks, 10Ks, all this stuff. And so I joined their marathon training program to do the Cape Cod Marathon last October because I didn't want Boston to be my first ever marathon. I wanted to get at least one under my belt so I knew how my body reacted. I knew what the training would be, the time commitments, and all of that. So I ended up training for the Cape Cod Marathon last October. That was really fun. It was brutal going through it. It was raining and
Oh
wind
man.
gusts up to 40 miles an hour, headwinds, and you're running along the
So you're
beach.
running way longer than 26 miles with the headwinds.
My Garmin said I ran 28. And then you also have the like ocean spray coming up and crashing over the sea walls and everything. So you're covered in sweat and salt water, and the rain just feels like thumbtacks blowing at your face because it's coming in so hard and fast. But it was an awesome experience. It really was. So after that, I then joined up with a charity to run the Boston Marathon because there's no way in hell I'm going to qualify for a sub 3 hour marathon as my second marathon. There's no way. So I got a bib number for the Joey O'Donnell Cystic Fibrosis Center at Massachusetts General Hospital for Children.
Wow.
It's a mouthful, which is why I'm looking up, like reading through all the taglines in my brain. My mom works for MGH, so she was able, and she has contacts with the cystic fibrosis department there because she primarily does pediatric physical therapy. So she was able to get me in contact with them. I applied for a bib number for their charity team. And last November, I launched my fundraiser to get $6,500 to go towards cystic fibrosis research. So that's kind of the caveat to running with the charity team. You get a bib number, but you have to raise all this money to do it. So I was doing fundraisers and guest bartending nights and Super Bowl square selling and all that stuff. So I did that, got all the money right before COVID really got crazy. And then the Boston Marathon this year was supposed to happen in April. It got postponed to September, and then it went virtual. So I ran that about a month ago at a local trail down here, 13.1 up, turn around, 13.1 back. And that mimosa I had after did taste really good. So that was a $6,500 mimosa I had, going back to the original point.
So you didn't even get a chance to run it. So you just had to do a virtual.
Yeah, I haven't run the actual Boston Marathon course yet.
Wow. Next year.
Next year, yeah, I
And
got
you're
my
going to run
sights
it
set on it
sub
again.
3 hours.
I am determined to run the Boston Marathon course on Marathon Monday at some point. So
I'm just gonna throw this little sidebar here. I don't do this marathon stuff. Okay. This straight running, that I don't have the mental capacity for that because it is a mental game.
oh, absolutely.
But I did, like, I just related. So untrained, just said ego got in the way. I signed up for the Spartan Beast, which is the hardest one, and just said, I'm going in blind.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a half marathon. For those that don't know, it's 13.1 miles, except up a mountain with obstacles. It took us 6.5 hours because
I'll
you
keep the
can't
beer
run.
cold for you at the end.
Yeah. What we didn't know, which we learned later, is all like I used to do Tough Mudders, but they give you water like in between and stuff like that. The point of the Spartan Beast was for you to be self-sufficient. So I had no water. I had no gummies. Fiance and I just went and hurt for about a week and a half afterwards. But
Yeah.
after that, I was like, everything else is easy.
It's fine. Yeah. It gives you a new sense of what you can accomplish.
Yeah. And let me tell you, we're going right into our point is the beer they give you. Joe, if you're watching the show, no Coors Light. Are
Oh
you
God, no,
serious?
no, 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 no. Get a
You
craft
make me
brewery to
go,
sponsor it for you.
yeah, I mean, you make me run 13 miles and then you're going to say, here's one of the world's shittiest beers
13 miles uphill.
uphill, and you get a Coors Light. And we both looked at each other and go,
No.
I'm not even want that.
That's
That's
like
not even
saying,
worth it.
when I was your age, we used to walk to school uphill, both ways, in the snow.
It's just that there's something about that dynamic between
Yeah.
do this horrible thing that you know you're gonna feel good afterwards, but don't
And
worry,
then
you
drink
get a
this
beer at the
horrible
end.
beer.
Yeah, and drink this horrendous beer. And then Tough Mudder went to oh man, what's the name of that orangey beer? Blue Moon.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, really?
They were at Shock Top at one point, I think.
That's what it was. Shock Top. It's the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I
It
did,
was
because I did
still
a Tough
the
Mudder. I did a Tough Mudder in like 2017, I think. Um, and there was Shock Top at the end. Yeah. That was
yeah. Now that Spartan owns Tough Mudder, it better not become Coors.
no, it better become Shock Top. All of it.
Or just something better. I'm just gonna let a little disclaimer to my audience here. Big beer snob.
Yeah. If I'm going to spend money on it, I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I kind of want to talk about first a different point. Well, I'll just tell you where we're going with this. So I like to talk about alcohol, everyone's favorite substance. Most beers are delicious, but alcohol can be in any forms that we all know. We've all had all of them. So what made you start having non-alcoholic beer? Because I think that's an important topic to talk about, even though I know you have both, but what made you start gearing yourself towards that?
So getting into the non-alcoholic scene, it kind of started about a year and a half ago. My dad found Athletic, excuse me, and they bought a few 6-packs and brought them home, and I tried them, and they weren't bad. They were pretty good, but I didn't really have any idea of what I was getting into or anything like that. And then with the last probably 12 months or so, 12 to 18 months, I really started thinking more about what I was putting into my body in terms of food, where my nutrients were coming from, how much activity I was doing, running, lifting, all that stuff. And then with marathon training, our long runs were on Saturday mornings at 6:30 in the morning. We were meeting. And so
Wow.
I still want to be able to come home from work and have a beer, but I didn't want to wake up hungover the next morning and need to run 16 miles because that's just no.
Just
um,
no.
just no. So many different types of no. And so I started ordering some Athletic, and because it had the mouthfeel, it had the carbonation, it had the flavors, it had all the stuff that I wanted in a beer, minus the alcohol. And then I became an ambassador of it, and I linked up with now the co-hosts of the podcast I host, and it just exploded from there. I had no idea there were so many different non-alcoholic beers, wines, and spirits out there. So I started this past summer while on quarantine, just ordering uh, Bravis and Athletic and Two Roots and all of these different places, and trying the wines and ordering spirits, and just getting really kind of jumping in head first here, because I figured I have nothing to lose. There's there's literally nothing to lose here and everything to gain. Um, and so I, again, keeping mind of watching what was going into my body, wanting to live healthier and live my fullest life possible, I saw this as a way to do it. And I'm by no means 100% sober. Um, I do still enjoy an alcoholic beer,
Favorite
cocktail.
beer? Go.
Favorite beer? Oh, Jesus.
Tough one. Favorite type of beer?
It really depends on the season, though.
Favorite fall type of beer?
I do love a good Weiss beer.
Okay.
I also like IPAs. I think that's kind of a cop-out answer a little bit. I got nothing against IPAs, but there's a brewery here in Maryland, Manor Hill, that does an awesome IPA. It's light, it's refreshing. I can blast through a 6-pack of them in an afternoon.
I mean, I would just go to Delaware and hit up one of my favorite breweries.
Dogfish.
Oh my gosh.
Dogfish 120-minute IPA.
No, not that one.
That'll put you out at 18%.
This is my problem. Ready? IPAs. I love the hops. I've actually eaten a hop whole because I'm psycho, but
Join the club.
yeah, fair enough. And I don't like alcohol, when you get above that 10% mark, it's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the sweetness in the IPA. I like the bitterness.
Yeah.
So the 60 minutes delicious. And then the Founders All Day IPA. It's just, I could drink that all day if it was not alcoholic, but yeah.
An annual seasonal one that I really like is Anchor Steam. Every year does a different like holiday stout. So every year they come out with a different stout that they brew just for that year and the holidays, and that's it. You can't, if you don't get it, sucks to suck. They're not making that recipe, and every year they change it.
That's pretty cool.
So some years it's a big hit, others not as much. And then Mad Elf by Trogs. Mad Elf is really good. That's also higher alcohol content, ABV as well. So you can't.
Yeah, you like the sweet ones, man.
I don't know why. I don't really like, I'm not a big dessert person or anything like that. There's just some days where it's like, all right, it's time for me to not do anything. I have no more obligations. I'm having a 14%er and calling it a day.
I can't say anything. I'm a pumpkin beer drinker, so I know.
Shipyard Pumpkinhead.
Oh, that one's really good.
That one's really good. What I'll do is I'll do some cinnamon sugar around the rim of the glass, and then pour it in there. That's delicious. It complements it very well.
Yeah, I see. I'm getting off topic now, going way too much into how much I love beer. But you were basically, you're waking up at 6:30 a.m. You're running a bunch. You decided that you can't really drink. Was there anything else that really pushed you towards that route, or is there any other reason why you still drink it? Like, there's got to be more to this. I feel it in my bones.
Now you're making me dig for some existential answer. I mean, yeah, it really was to live healthier. I noticed that I'm more focused during the week. I'm more alert at work. I'm less pessimistic. I used to be really sarcastic and bitter.
Because you were hungover.
Well, I was hungover, and just you're never hungover for just one day, because it takes more than one day to fully get over a hangover.
Let me give you something out of the box, and I know you're going to relate to this because only people who work out a lot feel this. When you drink, you get that hangover everyone describes for like the first 48 hours realistically.
Yeah.
But physical activity, especially a lot of it, like your marathon runs, your heavy weightlifting, it's a week.
Yeah.
You feel a week later, you feel weaker still. And it's just like,
these deadlifts suck more than
yeah,
they normally do.
why am I lifting half the amount of weight and crying?
Hurt on the inside and out. Yeah. And it really just got to the point where I was fed up with clearly not being as productive or active as I could be and wanted to be. And then I found the non-alcoholic community, and it's such a supportive community overall that I think part of the reason why I was so hesitant to get into it is because I knew all of my friends and would just give me constant shit. Why are you drinking that? You're not going to get drunk. I would never drink that. It's a shitty knockoff beer. It's like, you haven't even tried it. Like,
I get the same shit, so I'm just laughing because I'm related.
Yeah. And so finding the non-alcoholic scene, it normalized it for me. So that helped me almost, I guess, build the confidence to get into the scene itself. And then when I was kind of like dancing my way around the pool, like dipping a toe in here and there. And then I joined on with athletic and just jumped into the deep end and went for it, full blown, full steam ahead.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit of backstory of mine. I don't even think my audience knows, so it's great to bring up, and I want to get your reaction on this. Shocker, in college, borderline alcoholic. No, I probably was an alcoholic. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I built my tolerance up to drinking 15 beers a night.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like I said, no, definitely. Chronically hungover. But anyway, 2 years after I graduated college, I'm still going out drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, running up too high of a bar tab, but whatever. And I give, like you gave credit to your mother, I'm giving all the credit in the world to my mother. And I hope you're listening to this and saying, wow, I helped my son. So my mom came to me one day and she's like, Anthony, I don't mind you drinking, but you're drinking a lot. And she's like, I'm worried for you. She's like, you know what? She knows I'm competitive. I'm a very competitive person. She goes, I'll make a bet with you. I was like, what? She's like, you don't have a sip of alcohol, and then you can tell me not to do something. I was like, deal. I want you to stop eating sweets. She's like, deal. So we made this bet. She wasn't going to have any sweets. I was going to have no alcohol. We made it 6 months. 6 months. We were on a cruise together, and we both look at each other after 6 months of this and just go, nah, this is done. Tie.
We acknowledge that we're both equally competitive.
Yeah. But it helped me because I tried drinking again and I just felt like shit. And then it was like 2 beers, I was tipsy. When it used to take 15, my tolerance was gone. The hangovers, 3 days. And I started right around this time really getting a passion to build myself. And this is what I was talking about, the little existential stuff you were getting into.
Yeah.
About why I don't really, I'll have a beer, like an alcoholic beer, once or twice a month at best. But that's because I was waking up at 5 a.m. 5 days a week because I run a gym. And now it's at the point where I don't need the brain fog. I'm running a podcast. I'm running a gym. I'm trying to change the world. And if I have brain fog, which I get already from bad allergies, like if I'm going to make that worse with alcohol, like it's going to kill. I don't know. I might get that phone call that's going to change my life, and I can't sell that person or like do something about it because I'm hungover.
Yeah.
How many opportunities in my life did I miss because I was too hungover to take care of them? That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Yeah. And I don't think everyone realizes just how much of an impact alcohol can have on the human body physiologically. And I think if they did, a lot more people might be more into the non-alcoholic movement that's happening. And that's part of what I want to do, is help jumpstart it and advocate for it through a healthier lifestyle overall. So I definitely see where it comes from, that, and 100% relate to it. Absolutely.
So what would your advice be? Like if someone came to you and said, Chris, I'm drinking, man. What's your advice? How do I get into this? I'm not really feeling the non-alcoholic vibe. They might not like the taste of beer, but they feel like they need to drink. Like that's what me and you do. We love the taste of beer. It's not
Yeah.
the alcohol.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice could you give someone to really understand and start down this kind of journey, or maybe just drink less? Because I'm not going to say sober completely. That's boring.
Yeah.
But less.
And we've just blacklisted everyone on my social media.
Yeah.
I would say, first off, if you really think you have a true dependency on it, you need to seek help for your alcohol relationship, because it can become an addiction and incredibly self-destructive. If you do believe that you have a full-blown dependency and very negative relationship with it. And a lot of people who are alcoholics and ongoing recovering alcoholics, they still can't touch a non-alcoholic beer because it's so triggering for them.
Yeah.
So there are some people who are recovering alcoholics who still won't touch it because they're afraid it's going to be a gateway back to their old ways, and they don't want anything to do with that. So that's what I would say if they think they have a really bad relationship and they think it's
not a bad relationship then. They're just like Friday night, let's get hammered.
Just a Friday night thing. They want to start living healthier. I would say find a couple breweries, order some of their sample packs, because pretty much every brewery out there has a sample pack. The best part is you can order this stuff online.
Yeah, I didn't know they shipped it to your house until I started doing this. That's awesome.
Yeah,
you don't get beer shipped.
You don't have to go to the liquor store. You don't have to go to the brewery. You can order it online. So you're saving money in of yourself that way. You don't have to spend the gas money. There you go. But find a couple breweries, sample their mix packs. I would recommend my main ones. Athletic, obviously, because that seems to be in this country the kind of gold standard by which a lot of other breweries are trying to compare their beers to get to that standard. Surreal is another big one. Bravus, Two Roots. I'm trying to think of what else I have. I'm looking at my refrigerator because I have a bunch of beer stickers on it. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of them. And then if they like wines, there's Free, there's Ariel. Those are kind of the two real big ones in this country. And then there's some spirits. There's Liars. There's Zero Proof. There's Seedlip. And a couple others are cropping up here and there. So they really have non-alcoholic versions of whatever you want. You want
and
an old
Guinness. I saw that
Guinness
today.
is coming out. Yeah, that's this week's big news. Guinness is doing 0.0.
I am getting me a 12-pack of that.
I am going to tap all of my friends who are in Ireland and say, I don't care. Tell customs you're sending them some true Irish souvenirs. And
are they shipping it out to the US?
I don't know.
I hope so. I might die, or just go to Ireland.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the next logical. Talk about an expensive beer.
Yeah. I went to Ireland just to get this.
A non-alcoholic beer.
I was at the Guinness factory. They had the right on tap there.
It's so much better. It's different. The water is different. The surroundings, the environment. They actually opened the Guinness storehouse and brewery here in Maryland. It's like half an hour from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. for a time they could only brew Guinness Blonde because they couldn't get the customs approval to import the yeast for the Guinness Stout. So they couldn't brew the stout here, so they had to import it, which I think is
Wow.
funny.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wanna ask you a trivia question. I know the answer, but I want to
Oh
see if you
God.
know the answer. Are you like trivia?
Yeah.
All right. How many calories per gram is there in alcohol?
I'm gonna say 64
64.
per gram.
Put it this way: fats are 9, carbs are 4, and
Okay.
protein is 4. So how much is alcohol?
Um,
It is not 4. That'd be too easy.
8. I'll go the middle ground.
You're close. 7.
Okay. Calories per gram. So how many grams of alcohol are in a standard can of beer?
I can tell you a shot is, well, it'd be the same for a standard can, wouldn't it? Because it's the same type of alcohol content. Bah, 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 bah. There's 140 calories in it. So if you divide 140 divided by 70, 20. So a great example to get to people, if I took a shot of vodka, and it could vary a little bit based on vodka tequila, but if I will go with vodka, it's 140 calories, no matter what brand it is. I don't care what it says. That's what it is. So now you start doing the beers where standard is 3.5%. Now you're going 5, 6.
Yeah.
Before
Jeez.
you can have a 300, 400 calorie beer and not even know it because it's not labeled.
And that's one thing that's interesting about, like, I know there is some gin that says it's 0 calories, but it's not actually 0 calories. It ends up being just calorically neutral, right?
Yeah, so it's empty carbs. Alcohol is
Okay.
empty carbs.
Yeah.
Your body has no process for it, basically, but it still has to digest it. It still has to turn it in. Don't quiz me on the chemicals and the processes of breaking down alcohol. It happens. It goes to the liver, becomes something that becomes something, and
And stored as something else, and
yeah, then stored at something else. And
ATP, ADP, cellular
yeah,
respiration, various
yeah,
stuff, and we wake up the next morning with a hangover.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you're secreting all of it through your skin,
Through
urine,
sweating and all that good stuff.
all the fun stuff that everyone likes waking up and you could tell someone had a binger the night before just by smelling them.
Yeah.
Regardless if you showered, guys. The second you start sweating in the gym, I can tell.
Yep.
It goes, whoo! What
Yep.
is that?
It is right. Yeah.
So let's kind of start wrapping this up. I want you to give us some last minute pointers. Talk about your social impact with beer. Talk about anything else that you feel like we're missing on this topic that you think is important for people to kind of take home with them.
Yeah. I would say if you're considering trying to live healthier, but you don't want to lose the social fixation of hanging out with people, you literally have nothing to lose by going to a bar and ordering a non-alcoholic drink if they have it. It'll probably be like O'Doul's or Heineken or Beck's or something like that. But it's not like if you try it and don't like it, then that's one less drink that you will like that you can have because you're that much more tipsy. It's not going to get you any more drunk. You have nothing to lose. It's cheaper. It's healthier. This stout that I'm drinking is 90 calories.
Yeah, they're
That's,
all out IPA, which is my favorite, is 70.
yeah, like there, yeah, IPA is 70. There's one that's like 80. Um, it's just healthier. So if you're thinking of wanting to live healthier but don't know where to start, aside from the veggies and all that stuff, um, non-alcoholic beers, wines, and spirits are always, I'm going to say, a great way to go. What I'm trying to do is start a conversation at a higher level to get people to become more adventurous with what they want to try and how they want to live, and getting them to just give it a shot. Like, you really don't have anything to lose. Like, you don't. Um,
And when you go to the bar, ask the bartender to pour it into a glass, and no one will know the difference if you're worried about that.
exactly. Like, it, you don't have to sit there and sit Diet Coke or water
Because then
all
people know.
yeah, they know. Um, so try that. I guess that's really kind of my ultimate advice is you have nothing to lose. And if you don't like it, it's not like you blew $30 on a 4-pack. You might have blown $8 on a 4-pack. Like, there's really nothing to lose. So just go for it. You won't regret it. You'll feel better. Obviously, if you're trying to live healthier, you still have to be moving, be active. Non-alcoholic drinks and beverages won't give you abs just because you're not drinking everything. You still have to dial in the diet. Weight loss is still all about a caloric deficit. I don't care. That's how you lose weight. It's a caloric deficit. The pills and everything usually just jack up caffeine, and then you're all jittery, and you still have to work out and move if you want to lose weight and get in shape. But this can be a great way to help you stay on track with your macros, stay on track with your calories, and live that healthier life that you want to do. So
Yeah,
that,
I mean, even a lot of people, it's not so much the booze itself, it's what they eat afterwards when they're drunk.
yeah,
What are you reaching for when you're drunk? How about when you're hungover? What are you reaching for? Grease.
yeah,
So you're actually, even if you just change that one thing, you could start not gaining weight, maybe.
yeah,
Maybe you'll start breaking even instead of just constantly gaining. And I'm a big believer in trying to get yourself in the best position to set yourself up for success. And I think the biggest thing we can agree on is, do you want to wake up and miss the opportunity of your lifetime, or do you want to sleep through with a hangover and be miserable?
yeah.
It's all about outlook. But where can people find you, Chris?
I am primarily on Instagram as Life of Criley. That's Criley. My first initial and last name, 28. So Life of Criley 28 on Instagram and Twitter. I have a TikTok, but that's kind of rotting in the bowels of the internet. So just, you don't need to go there. Let's stick with Instagram and TikTok is where you can find me. If you have any questions, if you want any recommendations for any non-alcoholic spirits, or want to talk beer or whatever, shoot me a message. And I'm always happy to have a conversation.
I appreciate it. And thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Health and Fitness Redefined. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and join us next week as we dive deeper into this ever-changing field. And remember, fitness is a journey, not a destination.